trustworthy. So welcome everyone to our second book club. We are so glad you are here today with us. My name is Behnaz Rohani and I am a NADIC Professional Development Coordinator. And here is Christine Mibaha, and she is Division and Department, it's a big title, Leadership ANET Leader.
That's it.
It's a mouthful. So hopefully you all have had a chance to glance through the book if you haven't completed the book. So let's begin. And Christine is going to lead us through and tell us where to go from here. So here we go.
Oh, no, I don't tell people where to go.
You don't tell?
No. But I will be glad to start. I basically want to ask the question, and I think this is a good starting point. I don't want to go through and say, well, what did you think about retrieving? What did you think about? No, I want to ask you, what were your top 3 things that you, or maybe they're the topics themselves, or maybe just points, or maybe specific examples that he used or suggestions that he made. What are your top 3 things that you want to take away or that you took away from what you've read?
Good question. Yes.
So I'm going to ask someone chime in, please.
Well, I guess I have a top 2. I'm looking for my third one, but
Okay, well, you can go with 1 or 2. I'm just
I actually had read several books that fed into this, so I had already been doing a lot of this in my classes, and it was kind of nice reinforcement of it. But the 2 things that I'm really big on, the first one is self-explaining. I have a lot of, well, I'm retired now, but I had a lot of work with, like after students take I call them self-assessment instead of a quiz. They have to explain what they did wrong, if they did something wrong, and then also go on to say what they'll do differently to improve, that kind of thing. So that self-reflection. I do the same thing with test corrections. I always had them do test corrections and had it very formal with really looking at and explaining what they did wrong. Julie Phelps, a lot of you know her, she uses Flipgrid on exams for self-explaining. Each student has one specific question. They have to record a Flipgrid explanation of how they worked the problem. And she said sometimes they'll be in the middle of explaining their problem and go, oh, wait, I see I did this wrong. And they'll fix it right then and there. So there's something about saying it out loud. And then the second thing that stands out to me is the retrieval. I think we're in a Google world now, and too many times we know if there's something I want to know, if I really want to know it right now, I could look it up very quickly. And I personally really force myself to try to think of the answer. If I know I possibly know the answer, think of it on my own before I Google it, or on IMDb, what's that actor's name, that kind of thing. So knowing that how important we don't practice retrieving information, and so on a test, then students just aren't used to doing that. So those are 2 things that, there's a lot of good stuff in here, but those are 2 that really stood out to me.
the retrieval thing. I think that's part of the problem with students having difficulty memorizing. I think that it's really in this day and age that the mentality really is, I can look it up. Why should I bother learning it? And I think teachers in general are finding that it's very difficult to justify that you need to do these things. You can't just automatically look things up. I know I was teaching a developmental math class, and this happened a while ago, not this semester. But I had a woman in the class. I was talking about converting in the metric system, converting in the English system. Didn't even do the conversions between the 2. And so we were back at how many days in a week and how many days in a month and that. And I got to how many inches in a foot. And I called on her and she said, I don't know and I don't care, because she was going to look it up. And I said, well, what happens if you don't have the computer or you don't have your cell phone and can't look it up? I'll ask my mommy. What happens if your mommy isn't there? Well, then it's not important, was the reason. Now, of course, it shouldn't surprise anybody. She did not do well in the course either. But it was just kind of interesting to hear that thought process about how important that was, and or how lack of important it was. And I was thinking, why are you even in the room if you don't care? You know, it was tough. It was a very tough thing. So it was then that I decided that retrieval is kind of important, just to basically say you don't want to have dementia and try it that way. With youngins, it doesn't work.
My argument has always been, you can look up how to spell every single word in a sentence, but how long will that take you? You are wasting time, you know, looking up every single word. So why don't you just memorize it so you can get through it, you know, faster? And also, if you understand and memorize the little pieces, then you can spend more time figuring out how they all fit together. So that's been my rationale. I don't know if it works, but
But you're right about the retrieval. They talk about how you can go around and around and around. If you keep doing this, and when they finally do get to, say, a cumulative final exam or something like that, it's not as traumatic. This is true. This is very true. And it's also part of mastery learning, is it not? So, okay. So thank you. Appreciate that. Someone else want to chime in?
well, I haven't read a lot of it, but I was interested in, well, the title in and of itself interested me because my classes are very adjunct heavy in regards to, and, you know, in terms of, I think I can convince them to make small but meaningful changes as opposed to doing these huge, you know, overhauls. So that's what intrigued me. So for those folks who have read a good chunk of this book or all the way, do you think that this book speaks to that?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, I just realized that some people in here haven't met each other, and most of us know each other, but I don't think everybody knows everybody. So I'm gonna stop for just a second and ask, can we sort of introduce each other? That would be really cool. I will start. I'm Christine Mirbaha, as Benaz said, with the other. I am at CCBC, the Community College of Baltimore County, and where I've been for the last 31 years. And so, and of course, yes, I teach math, of course. But I teach a lot online and a lot face-to-face and somewhat remote now. And I'm really excited about the book club, because the book club to me is branching out and doing something that I think is so important that we've just overlooked for so long. So I'm going to call on people this time. Let's see. I'm going to go in order of the participant list that I have. So I guess that means that Benaz goes next.
Well, I already introduced myself, but as far as my job, I am at Georgia State University, Perimeter College. I have been here since 2004, but I have been teaching for the past 30 years. I'm fully online. I'm in the fully online campus. So that is what I do.
Okay. Beverly? Vance? Yes.
I had to unmute and I had to go looking for the button, even though I do know where it is. I'm Beverly Vance, and I'm the AMATIC office director, and I'm in the office today. My computer was off, so I had to come back in and turn it on so I could work remotely. So I just decided to stay here for a few minutes and just listen in. I don't know a whole lot about what you're talking about, but I enjoy learning new things. So I just thought I'd listen for a while. So it's nice to see all of you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate everything you do. Just to
You're
let you know.
welcome. You're so welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay, Donna. Sperry.
Coming. My name's Donna Sperry. I teach mathematics. I'm rounding out my 23rd year at the College of Southern Maryland.
Cool. 23rd already? Whew.
I know.
Okay. Karen.
I'm Karen Gaines. As I said, I retired just short of a year ago from St. Louis Community College, and that has now afforded me more time to spend on other endeavors, most of which are attached to AMATIC. So I am I'm the coordinator of the My AMATIC website, and also working on a 5-year grant teaching for prowess tied to the impact document, and about to really get going on what I'm going to call the Journey to Mars project. We're trying to work with NASA scientists to create more activities tying mathematics to space travel. And I'm finishing up my realm as the Student Research League coordinator. So that's me in a nutshell.
Wow. That's a lot. So much for retirement. Larisha.
Hi, I teach math at Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida, and I just finished my 5th year of teaching, so excited to continue growing. And I've been involved with AMATIC a couple times in the past. I've done Access, and I just love all the AMATIC conferences. So I'm hoping I can come to Arizona this year.
Cool. And Steve.
Hi, everyone. My name's Steve Phillips, and I just finished my 11th year at Missoula College, and I teach mathematics and statistics. And I have prior taught at Pima Community College in Arizona, so I also hope to make it to Arizona this fall.
Where is your college at, the one that you're at now?
Missoula College is in Missoula, Montana.
Montana.
And we're a two-year college that's part of the University of Montana. And we I've taught at Bitterroot College, which is just down the road from Missoula in Hamilton. And I'm also going to teach a course for Helena College, our capital, another two-year college in Montana this summer.
Wow.
So,
That's-
and I've been teaching hybrid this spring. No online courses this spring, but I've taught plenty of online courses in the past.
Oh, wow. Well,
So,
welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to everybody. And now that we've got everybody knows who everybody is, and Mitra apparently had to check out.
She
So,
had to leave. She had to leave. She apologized for that.
okay, thank you. Well, we'll miss her. So anyhow, I want to go back to what we were doing with your top 1, 2, 3. I'd prefer 3, but because it's kind of like you can't just read that book and just get one. It's kind of difficult to do that, but I'm sure there's one that at least that stands out. I appreciate, Donna, that you're just starting to read it, but it's very interesting. I think you're going to find once you get into it, a lot of it is things that you already know, but some of it is just really incredibly new, great ideas or stimulate new ideas.
Yeah, indeed. And sometimes, we can forget get the basics. We get so involved in the new thing. So I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, so Steve, you're also, just so you don't want me to pick on you, I guess.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Is this part of a book club series? Maybe is there another book coming that I could get a start on?
Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about today too,
Oh,
because the last time we met, we all decided that we would sit and discuss, that we'd think of other books that we wanted to read, and then we'd bring it up to the group and the group would decide, rather than just, have it dictated, because I don't want to dictate. I really want it to be a whole group thing. So that's why. And I'm rocking back and forth because I have a cat in my hand. Okay, so I got to keep him kind of happy. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So I guess, Larisha, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, so I am preparing to teach online calculus for the first time this fall. And what I'm very excited that this book provided almost a framework for how I can structure the lessons and the units and all of that in my online course. So one of my takeaways was I have no outlines for my students to follow along with the video lessons for an online course. So I want my students, before they have access to the video lessons, to look at the note outlines before they're filled out, just like a very basic framework, and it was sort of in its prediction section of the book. So look at these, what do you notice? What are you curious about? And just ask targeted questions about the note outlines before each lesson. And it could be something that I need them to recall, like, how do you think reading through this one theorem is going to connect to something we did in the past? Or it could be, what do you think you could use this for in the future, like as an application or something like that, that they could get and predict. So I'm very, very excited about that, because then I can guarantee that my students are seeing the note outlines as a resource. So I know they see it all and they get to try this new skill.
Oh, cool. So you're actually able to put the whole thing together and put something useful for you. That's really great.
Yeah, I really do. I came up with a class flow for how I want this to work. A lot of it was based on what he was talking about in his book. So it was really nice.
Huh, that is great. Well, thank you. I am going to ask Banaz next, because Banaz is the person who suggested the book. So she, I know, has gone through several times, and I'm going to ask her what stood out for you, and you might as well explain why you found this book so interesting to suggest it.
Well, the reason I found it interesting, I have been hearing people talking about it at different conferences, professional development. So I was so intrigued to read through it. So the parts that really stood out to me was about cumulative learning. That, for instance, we are the way I used to do it, at least me, you do, say, quiz 1 is on, say, 2 sections, then quiz 2 will be on 2 other sections. But the way he was talking about it is that always place few questions from the other 2 sections, make sure that they can, even though math is cumulative, in a sense, but it is very interesting the way he put it forward, that always, so they can't really predict that, oh, those 2 sections, just put them in the closet until the end of the semester. So they have to really be on their feet at all times. There's no telling what question will come out, in this quiz from the previous section. So I thought that was very interesting. The other was about concept maps, and that is the one I use it heavily in my courses. And I have created lots and lots of them in my courses. And I even have assignments for students to do concept maps for their assignments. And they have created beautiful concept maps. And it is going through these concept maps that they realize, oh, they have to go through it step by step. And there is so much learning that takes place by them going through these concept maps. And I've even kept some of them, and I shared them in different courses. Of course, this is with their permission by taking out their names. So I find those concept maps. In fact, I even wrote an article for a journal on concept maps. So it is. I found this very, very interesting. And I use those concept maps, and it is an ongoing project for me in my courses. So it's myself and another colleague that we worked on this project together. We had a little STEM grant, so we worked on this, and the concept maps we created, we provided it to all faculty in our school. And now when I am teaching a topic and then I see that students are having a hard time understanding certain things, I call my friend, I say, well, gee, look, we need to create a concept map on this. This is the issue they are having. So we really address their issue by creating a concept map. And they have been really talking a lot, the students. They were so happy for the concept maps, and they are asking for more and more. But, you know, certain topics, they really do not lend themselves well. But there are some that it's so clear cut. We even have pictures in them. It is fascinating. I found those to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, there was a big thing a few years ago. A lot of sessions at the AMATIC conference a few years ago were on mapping. It was fascinating what some of the people came up with the, you know, things like a science topic, like maybe in the different classifications or something, and how they did the pictures for them. The students who were artistically inclined did pictures. I'm not artistically inclined, so I sort of looked at it as, oh, okay, maybe I could just take little lines or adapt some sort of a flow chart or something like that that would work. But I'm sure that works with a lot of the students, especially the ones who really aren't the people who have the rigid, you know, step by step, instead needing to have this is how it relates type thing. That's really cool.
What I have found out is that students, by going through this process, it just teaches them how to study. This is one way, you know, to break down the problem into steps. For instance, when we were discussing related rates, I broke it down so many times in my notes, but it was until I created the concept map that they just saw it visually. You know, I even have videos. So it takes care of those who are a visual person. They can actually see it. And it's all colorful. So it's very pleasant to the eye. You know, you see it. And even for some students, when I was asking them to solve a problem using concept map, they were not able to create those, you know, flow charts using Word. I said to them, just use hand. And they just drew those. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. Just all drawings by hand. It was so beautiful that how different minds think differently about solving a problem. So that is, I'm big on that. And
I like the concept maps too. I've used them in like our test reviews as part of like a larger review. And I think that, like you were saying, the students who are creative, it really meshes with them. And I had one student come up to me at the end of the semester, and she was just like, I didn't know math could be creative. And it was such a big moment for her when she realized that she didn't have to be afraid of math because she could be creative and still do math.
Wow.
I wanted to say something about the going back, reviewing. I did starting at midterm, I did what I called Spot the Review, and their online homework that they have to do. I would insert one question from some other unit. And I made it as it was to help them review for the final, because it was actually questions from the final. And so they had to identify which problem it was and copy it down on a piece of paper, and in class I just look at it. It amazed me how many people couldn't tell what problem didn't belong. I mean, we could be graphing parabolas and I put in a question about, I don't know, a sequence, and they would have no idea that didn't belong in there. So it's it not only helps them, but it reminds you that sometimes they really, you know, when you ask, what did you learn today? A lot of times they really don't know what was going on. So it's, I think it's pretty eye-opening. And I want to say with Larisha teaching Calc online, that grant I was talking about, Chandler Gilbert Community College this year created a complete set of, for their Calc 1, 2, and 3 courses. They had to go all online as everybody else did. And so they have wonderful, just the whole structure of their course. And it's the focus of our grant is active learning. So it's all trying to get students interactive, amongst themselves and, again, active learning. So I can give you contact information for them that may help you, I'm sure will help you.
That would be amazing. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't chat with you privately, so everybody will see their addresses, but I'm sure they don't mind.
and speaking about the interleaving, this is something that I was trying to figure out. I think I want to try this with my online calculus course. Is I will still offer them practice sets in relation to each lesson because students need to practice, right? But I was thinking that instead of collecting those for a grade or maybe for a lesser grade, what I wanted to do was have a cumulative practice set, still not too long, but have it kind of randomized. So students would have to go through after each lesson and say, maybe they don't have to solve it all the way, but they have to say, I would use the methods we learned in this class or in this lesson to solve question numbers 2 and 4. So that way they have to start thinking about, okay, what did we learn this lesson? What patterns did I see? What types of problems can I solve with this? And it would be something they cumulatively do for each testing unit. I think that might be interesting and might help with distinguishing, like you were saying, like, oh, we're talking about sequences. Oh, we're talking about graphing parabolas and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. That sounds perfect, actually. What about, I find the self-explaining exercise to be, I decided to try that and have my students do their own explanations about everything. So I thought that was, oh, thanks, appreciate that, Karen. I think that to me was very helpful for my students because what I realized was they are writing down what I say. And they're looking at the book, don't understand the book at all. And then they're writing down pretty much word for word, either when I'm writing or what I'm saying. And that just doesn't cut it after a while. Because then, because I'll ask them, well, what does it mean? When I said this, what did it mean to you? And they just sort of go, yeah. And then they start mimicking something else they said. So they're mimicking, but they're not really understanding. So I've asked them to write it all in their own words. Don't use mine. I don't want to see mine. I want to see yours, And then periodically in class, I'll say, could someone please tell me how they wrote this down so that it could help? Because if someone asks a question, I'll say, can someone please explain this to them or something like that, instead of me saying the same thing over again. And that seems to help a lot with everybody learning, not just one or two people, but with everybody, because the person who's doing the explaining is actually reinforcing what they said, and they're getting verification that what they said was really accurate. But also, it's also that they start to help each other a little bit more. And they learn, it's just like peer tutoring or something like that. You can communicate at a different level. And so I found that that's extremely, extremely helpful. So a lot of times I'll just turn around and say, how did you write this down? Or how would you explain this if you were explaining it to someone who didn't understand? Yeah. And I find that really works very well with my students. Most of mine are still just learning how to study, to tell you the truth. So any kind of anything. So listening to what you guys have said about some of the things, I'm going to try some of the things that you guys have been suggesting, because it seems like my students would really benefit from it. I was starting to think about what I would do for like, how do you study for this course guide, right? But I think this is so much better.
I actually was going to say something about that, the how to study for this class.
Mhm.
I switched to flipped classrooms about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years before I stopped teaching. And so I knew I had to convince the students there was a reason for this, because they weren't going to just show up and listen to me talk. And so I create a video that is how to be, I call it How to Be Successful in This Course. And it's about 10 minutes long. And I go through, you know, all of this research I've done on learning and the brain, etc. I explain to them why I have the course structured the way it is, why the purpose of each assignment, and what level of understanding it's approaching. And they watch that before the first day of class. I actually have a getting to know you thing at the end that then they email me, but I find that helps immensely. And then reinforcing throughout the semester, I talk a lot about your neurons and synapses, and we're growing dendrites right now, and just kind of reinforcing all of that. You know, I am not just creating busy work because I don't want to grade busy work. I'm
Right.
creating a structure to help you learn. And I think, you know, that little 10-minute video does wonders, I think.
I have students that, well, what I do is at the end of the semester, every semester I do this as an exercise. I ask them to provide me with some hints that they want passed on to the next group, you know. Sometimes they're in the next group, so, but just advice, you know, how do you get through my class? How do you survive? How do you thrive? And what are the good things and what are the don'ts? I like to have them say, don't do this, don't do that, right? And then the next semester I start out with, these are some of the things, you know, they've said, and I don't clean up the language. And if they give me a video, I just give them the video, and I let them hear what the people from the previous class heard or saw or did or didn't do or whatever. And then throughout the semester, I'll just out of the blue come up with, you know what, so-and-so said this, what do you think about it? And it gets them to think again about how to study. It gets them to think about, well, what am I doing that's hindering me from doing the best I can? What am I doing that's allowing me to be the best I can? And sometimes I'll just ask people to say, what is one new technique of studying, or what is one thing that's helped you when you worked on this test, or when you worked on this quiz, or when you worked on this paper? And that seems to also help a little bit. It's not perfected yet, but because I would really like to just take videos of everybody saying stuff, because when I'm telling them, they can think, well, she just made that up, you know. But it really coming from the students themselves. And I do get permission, by the way. I ask permission to use them. And I say, if you don't want me to use it, say on the paper, don't use this, or say on the video, don't use this. But yeah, and I think that it really does help. Plus also asking the students at the end of the course, and I should probably start asking them at the beginning too, and sometime in the middle, just because I think it really helps them to understand where they've been and what they've really gained throughout the semester, you know, or what it is that they really have to concentrate on. I think those things are very important.
Few semesters ago, one of my assignments was asking students to create a video. And so that was one of their assignments. So I gave them instructions on how to create a video, and you will be amazed how much time and effort they put into it. It's like they were teaching. I said to them, look, I want you to teach this topic to a layman, someone off the street. How would you teach it to them? Because I have heard them saying that, you know what, my cousin, my nephew, niece came to me, asked me about this question, and I said, sorry, don't ask me. I don't know how to do this. Math is not for me. I said, it'll be shameful for you to say that, you know, to a young child. So you need to perfect yourself in teaching. And this math is not difficult, so you all can do it. So it was, and they were so creative. Some of them, they were standing, in front of a board. Some of them, they had a little whiteboard. Some of them, they used PowerPoint. It was the most beautiful assignment. So the best way to learn is teaching. I mean, you imagine ourselves, the first day they gave us the book, go, you are teaching. I mean, yeah, I got out of university, but who taught me how to teach? I was just watching my professors, not until I got in front of the board and confronting the students. Then so it's just trial and error. I tried this strategy, I tried that. So, and this is how you learn. So, and it's the same with them. So I find, and they were so delighted with this assignment. So I think I have to bring that back to life and use that. The other thing I do, which I find it very useful for me as a faculty, is that middle of the semester, I give them a mid-semester evaluation. It's just 2-liners. I ask them, how has their experience been in this course? How have I been as their instructor? What can I do to improve their experience? Are there any things in the course that they like it to be modified? And I let them know that after, these are all anonymous, I read these. And of course, to those of them, I ask them, do not put words in a criticizing way. Make sure you make constructive suggestions. And then after I read through them, then I get back to them and I say, okay, I read through these and here are my steps. This is what I'm going to do for the second half of the semester. And they'd be so happy to see that I am hearing them out. And this is how me as a faculty have perfected my way of teaching. For instance, in the beginning, I didn't have videos for every section of my Calc 1 and 2. So they said, we need videos for every single topic. Concept maps came out of. They didn't say per se, come up with concept maps. They wanted step-by-step process. So I was reading through literature. This is what came to me. So all the things that I do as a faculty math is because of them. It's their suggestions. And they are happy that, they are here. I'm not forcing them into learning it this way. I'm always hearing them out. I am here to listen to you for anything that is constructive. So, and this is a way for me to assess my course every single semester. I do one middle of the semester and one at the end of the semester. And it's anonymous. They can write, they can trash me, or they can say, well, these are the things. And some of them, they say, there's nothing. I'm sorry, I can't say anything because there's nothing for me to suggest to you to improve.
That sounds like the at the end of the book, when he was talking about like how you can expand the small teaching into like big teaching, there was that one instructor who he like had the groups suggest changes to the syllabus. What you are doing sounds a lot like the small teaching version of that. And I bet the students really appreciate the fact that you are responding to their constructive criticism.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're muted, Christine.
Sorry, Karen had her hand up. Yeah, you did. You went ding with the little white thing.
She was getting her glasses.
No. There was a hand on her picture and while you were talking. And so she's a hand. Okay. No, staying out of this, huh? Okay. I just thought maybe you had something you wanted to add to what Naz was saying. So, okay. Well, we have a lot of things that it seems like we already do, but it seems also like the book itself gave us a lot of new ideas, new ways to think about things. And I really think that now that we've read it, or at least we're reading it, okay, I'm not saying everybody's read it, but we're reading it, we're getting a lot of things out of it that maybe we could try new, and our students are definitely going to benefit from it. But also we can also grow professionally that way. I think it's something that really helps us to grow, and maybe even have a session on it at Amatic. There you go, or hold a webinar. Okay. But I think that that's something that we can all think about doing and expanding as we go. So we have 15 minutes left. And so I was going to ask, does anybody have any other things that they wanted to talk about the book? Anything that stuck out with them, or anything that they might want to maybe focus on for a moment?
I know at the last book club gathering that we had, Christine, you suggested that it'd be nice for us to have a place where we as faculty who have had years of experience, we talk, we share with each other some tips for students on how to learn.
Mhm.
Right? You remember you made that suggestion? Now I was thinking, playing with that idea, and I was thinking that, well, you know, text of that is everywhere. You Google, you can find it. So I was thinking, so this is going to be my new project. And for those of you here and those who are going to watch this recording, is that I want each faculty to record themselves 5 to 7 minutes. I know Karen said that she has done it for 10 minutes. I'm open 5 to 10 minutes of, say, for instance, you introduce yourself that I'm Karen Gaines from such and such college, and here are my tips. My tips for you as a student on how to study, how to learn mathematics. So, and then we are going to host this on the PD page, and any one of you, say for instance, for fall, you can go ahead and share these with your students. Can you imagine getting tips from 30, 40 faculty around the nation? I mean, we are all from different walks of life, you know, different genders, different backgrounds. So maybe the experience that Karen has will hit my student, or maybe what Larisha will say in her video is going to hit maybe Chris's student. So this is what I'm thinking, that, you know, I want to go with video rather than a text, because, you know, then text, then you have to copy it, then you have to take it, paste it someplace. But this way, the videos are going to be lively, and you can connect to people through video. This is what I'm planning to do based on your suggestion, Christy.
That sounds like a great thing. I think that's really a great thing. It's a question of finding time, of course, but yeah, taking out a few minutes maybe this summer and putting it up there. Yeah. How would we would we send it to you and then you would put it up?
If you like to doing it, so maybe the very first thing is to email me. You know, just send me an email that you're interested in doing this. Then I need to ask you, give you some specifics about, because I have a site that, you know, I would ask you to upload it where, and kind of, you know, sometimes faculty, they record the video without their face showing. And I want students to make connection with the faculty. They know that Karen is from St. Louis, Missouri. You see, Christine is from Maryland. So it's just that, you know, they see that this is not a problem just for Georgia. This is a problem everywhere. Every student is dealing with this kind of problem. So that is how, and we all, by me watching Larisha's video, me as a faculty, I'm going to learn things that she's going to tell me as a faculty. So this is not just for students. This is good for me as a faculty also. So the very first thing I request is just to shoot me an email. And let me put my email in the chat, and then we'll go from there.
That sounds like a great thing. Thank you for taking that on, because it's something that's kind of really important that we do, you know. what else does someone want to throw out there? Anything?
I think we need to, in the next 10 minutes, maybe we should decide about the book, what book you want. And I think as Steve was saying that, for some of us with the different things we have on our laps, maybe 1 month will not be enough to go through a book. So maybe if we come up with a book, decide for the next time that we are.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were okay with this book first. Yeah, but yes. So does anybody have any books that they were able to find that they really, that they feel comfortable suggesting?
What do y'all think about Think Again by Adam Grant?
Haven't heard of it. That's why we're asking. So, you want to tell us a little bit about it, please?
Well, I haven't read it, but I'm a big fan of Adam Grant's, and the whole premise of the book is how we rethink stuff. Commonly held beliefs, don't hold on to our convictions so strongly, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. It seems like an interesting read to me, and especially in the context of coming out of COVID, coming out of the pandemic. I'm sure we're all doing stuff that we would have never thought of, or maybe even balked at a year and a half ago. I thought maybe that's something that we could relate to, and also just the whole idea of I don't know if he necessarily speaks about math's particular, I doubt it, but we sometimes get locked into explaining concepts one way or thinking about something another way. And so I thought it might be an interesting just mental exercise and how to actually think about things a little differently.
Okay. So that's one book. What else? What else is out there that someone wants to suggest?
I underlined some of the books that the James Lang had referenced in his book. One I had looked at before, but I haven't just gotten through it yet, was Teaching Naked by Jay Bowen. And then another one that I underlined from this book was How Learning Works, the 7 Research-Based Principles for Smart Teaching.
By who?
By S. Ambrose. Those are the ones I marked in the back, so I don't remember where they showed up in the books, but I marked them.
It's Susan Ambrose.
Okay, Susan. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I was gonna say I can look it up. I've got the book right here. Okay.
I have
Go ahead.
another suggestion. This is called Building Thinking Classrooms in Mathematics. It says grades K through 12, but it's not. And I know that turns people off a lot of times, but if we're looking for, if people liked small teaching with just things we can take directly into the classroom, if that's kind of where we're headed, this is a brand new book. It's got 14 teaching tips.
Okay, so that sounds good too. And Steve's put something in the chat. Steve, do you want to explain?
I'm not sure Grasp would be a great one for a book club, but it was a really fun read about mostly about active learning from Sanjay Sarma out of MIT. Just a recommendation, but I did just get Thinking Classrooms, so that would be fun. I haven't read it yet, but he actually, is it Peter?
Liliendahl.
Yeah, I think he was here 2 years ago. He was so fun. He was great.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Peter Liliendahl.
Spell that. Oh,
Liljeddahl.
okay.
And
All right.
actually, this is from I know about this from the grant. The people at Chandler Gilbert again, they are doing they are going through this book. So April and Scott, again, would be good people to bring to our discussion because they've been discussing it with their faculty as part of their professional development. So,
April and Scott,
yeah.
April and Scott.
April
Who?
Strom and Scott Adamson, the emails
Thank you.
I gave you that I put in the
Okay.
chat earlier about the calc materials.
Oh, okay.
It's that same group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
okay,
right.
so we have some suggestions, and another suggestion that we have by someone who's not here is Judy Williams, and that is the Alan Alda book. I think I mentioned it last time too, called If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face, which is all about communicating, which, you know, yes, and I will admit, I'm an Alan Alda, sort of like, you know, if Alan Alda's in it, I'm watching it. And I think Judy felt the same way, which is why she suggested it. But, you know, once I started reading it, I said, oh, okay, this is entirely different than what I thought. I thought it was going to just be, you know, here we are, blah, 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 blah. No, it's really interesting on how to communicate with people, and to actually be understood rather than talk at people to somehow talk. So it's outside of the realm of the classroom. It's outside of mathematics, but it really does have a lot of things that can be used in the classroom. So I'm just going to say, there we go. And so, yeah, he really has. And Donna, I don't know if you saw Donna's chat comment, says, I vote for the Alan Alda book. He's done a lot for helping scientists better communicate, which I think is something that, well, you know, we don't do that. So even if you don't want to do it as a book club thing, I really recommend you at least pick it up, check it out. Okay. So we have lots of suggestions here. Did we get them all, or does someone else want to chime in with something?
I like the distracted also.
Okay.
Distracted.
Yeah, distracted by Lang. Yeah, that's a new one. Expensive, but it's a new one. He's also done one. So we have several. Okay. Do I have a way of doing a, I don't see where I have a way of doing a poll in here. So I'm sorry, I'm used to Teams now.
I'm
not
wondering
used
about maybe thinking, I know we want to make a decision, but
Mhm.
I've never heard of, you know, three of
Half of
these
these
books,
books.
and I'd like to just kind of look, at least read the back cover kind of description
Okay,
and
all right.
maybe.
Well, how about this? Well, we do want to meet again, and we want to have a time to read the book, right? So if we send out a poll and ask, would that work? Using
that's-
SurveyMonkey or something like
Yeah.
that? Or is there something on the AMATIC site that we can use on myamatic.org?
I can create a poll on my Amatic. I can just put it on the landing page and everybody can just go right there. If you give me a list of the books, people can vote then.
Okay, that
Okay.
would be excellent. Yeah.
All right. So I've got to ask, Think Again is by, what's Grant's first name?
Adam, ADAM.
Thank you.
Oh,
And it's Grant, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And Teaching Naked is, I should know. I've seen it. Hold on. It's in here somewhere, yes?
So Karen, is book club is also advertised on the landing page of my Amatic? No.
nope.
So maybe the way that you are advertising the teaching tip video. So I don't know if you want to do this, and then you put that poll there that, you know, for future books, these are the books we want to get your viewpoint. What do you think?
So, so right now with the teaching tip videos, they just go right to the Amatic site.
Yes.
So I don't have there isn't stuff on my Amatic that's like another page or
Right.
anything. But the poll is right, is right on the main page, right under those flags. Right now I have, do you intend to get the COVID vaccine? That's kind of an old poll.
Okay.
When it becomes available to you.
So,
you can see how long
so
that's-
maybe if you can create it so that when this, then you can take them to the page, the PD page, so that is where we have the recordings of the book club.
Okay, yeah, I can create a little widget right in the same
Yes.
spot underneath the poll that
Yes.
says, to look at the others. Yeah.
That would
Okay,
be awesome.
Can we agree on the number of the amount of time that we'll have the poll up there? Can we agree on that? Because I know we want to be able to read. I don't know about you all, but I have to be able to get the book and read a book.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and I think for me, I think that takes at least 6 weeks,
Mhm.
at least minimum.
Shall we say 1 week? Have the poll open for 1 week? Karen, what do you think?
That's fine.
Okay, and then we can leave it open for everybody in Amatic, and then that way,
Yeah.
maybe more people will want to get involved, which I think would be great. Okay. All right, so that's what we'll do. Let me go through the books with you, make sure we're okay with the book list. Okay. It's Think Again by Adam Grant, Teaching Naked by Jay Bowen, How Learning Works, et cetera, by Susan Ambrose, Building Thinking Classrooms by Peter, I can't pronounce his name.
Lilia Doll.
Liliadol, yeah, okay. And then the Grasp by Sanjay Sarma, right? My Thinking Classroom by Peter Liliendahl, okay. And Distracted by James Lang. And If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face by Alan Alda.
You said My Thinking Classroom is not, that's the same thing. You listed that as like two different books. It's called Building Thinking Classrooms in Mathematics.
Oh, okay.
No, you listed him twice there. So
Oh, okay. So they're not two different books? I
no,
thought they were two different books.
I don't, Steve, aren't you talking about this book?
Yeah, that's the book.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, well then you already have that book. Okay, that book's on the
Oh,
list.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
no, I'm saying that book's on the list. She's got the information for the title for that one. I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I will send you that list today. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, and we'll get that up there too. If anybody knows anybody who would like to just join in, just grab them and have them come. I've been doing that, but well, we'll see. But I most certainly, we're having our Matic conference, Donna, at the end of May, Donna. And so when we have our Matic conference virtually, Donna, we will be, I'm going to try and do something in there to announce this as well. So
That'd be good. So, Christine.
yes.
Chris,
Yeah.
I couldn't find the book club listed under community on the Amatic site. Was I looking in the wrong spot?
No, it's not. It's under.
It's not listed. Can we get it listed?
No, you told
Or are we not allowed to be a community?
No. Time out. You asked me to set up a working group to
Yeah.
like create materials. It wasn't really for the book club.
Oh, okay. Can we
It's a
set,
private group? That's all I've done on my Amatic.
is there any way we can do that, or do we have to go through the board?
No, I can do whatever you want.
Can we have a site, a community? Can we start one, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, you can put me down as the head. I'll be glad to be the bouncing head.
Do you still want that working group?
We were trying to use it. I guess I'd like it there just for suggestions for now. And maybe
What
that
is
could
the
be
purpose?
somehow linked to the community.
What is the purpose of that working group?
Well, we were going to work in there. Remember originally, Larisha, we were talking about that at the last one. Do you remember? And we were talking about posting ideas and things like that.
Yeah, we were talking about doing a like small studying for students site, and we were gonna like compile ideas from different people.
Well,
But
I think now I am going to create those videos, so that would be taken care of.
Well, I think it's not just that, it's materials and things like that as well. So maybe all that goes together. Does that make sense?
Are you talking to me or Larisha?
Everybody. This is a group thing. I don't want to dictate. Dictating is no. This is a group, and we're all a group, and we're all working on this together.
Yeah, I didn't know the purpose of that working group. So I like the idea of having a community for the book club, so that, after the book club, we can, between this session and the next one, we can consult about what we have read, any inputs, so that way we can bring on board more people also.
Right. Okay, so we could do the videos as one of those components, and the posting of ideas and things like that as another component of the community, right? Karen?
Well, those videos are going to go on amatic.org.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Link to.
so, all right, so the videos are going to go on they're going to go on my.amatic.org, correct?
No,
Just the myamatic.org?
no, just amatic.org.
Okay. How many sites are there?
2.
Okay. Oh, so this is the old one,
Yes,
the original one. Okay, all right.
that's where PD is housed.
That's where PD is housed. Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know that. See, learned something new today. Okay, so, all right, so the videos will go there, but then, yes, I think we would want to keep the working group within the community. Does that make sense?
We can.
Karen?
Well, we've gone in circles. So just
Yeah, I
one
know.
community that has multiple purposes of just the book club having a way to talk and to generate ideas that then could be dispersed wherever they need to be dispersed, whether it's
Yeah. Uh-huh.
through my amatic or just amatic. Yeah.
Yeah. Will that work?
Yeah, and we've got 12 members
Yes, we do.
already.
Yes, we do.
So I'll just change the name of it.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you want me to well, no, never mind. I was gonna say I could just put the poll in that, but no. Well,
What did you call it?
No, we
now?
really want the poll out there for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
we-
might need to, wait, it might need to go to both sites then. Is that possible?
no,
No.
you don't do polls on amatic.org.
Okay, all
The
right,
site is more advanced, so.
okay, all right. I didn't know, okay, so yes, but we do need the poll out there, and I'd really like to have the amatic community at large be able to vote, to weigh in, not just the book club,
Yeah.
if that's at all possible.
And I will send an announcement through the current 12 people in the book club working group. I can send them an email that says, hey, go to the landing page and vote on a book. So.
And what is the name of that? What are you going to call that group?
Well, right now it's called the book club working group. So I can just call it the book club community if
That's it.
Yeah, that works.
book club, just book club, and it's a community. So.
Yes, that would be excellent.
That would be great because, because we really want to get the word out there and get more people involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We are at 3:38, and I just wanted to thank everyone for being here today, and look forward to seeing everyone. Great ideas, great minds working. Yes.
Quick question. Karen, if you don't have to be anywhere, for a few minutes. Can you stay on for just a second? Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure, I'm going to leave the Zoom room because if I leave, then it will cut you off. So I leave it on, but I will mute myself and I will shut my, okay?
Oh, it's
You might want
okay.
to turn off the recording, but I want to thank everybody for coming
I'm
today
going to
too.
turn off, yes.
And we'll work on this and we'll get it together. So thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Don.
you.